Plastic is everywhere. Microplastics are an invention, basically, um, or more like a problem that we've created for ourselves. We started off by creating all these different plastics for all these different products and materials, and those have worn down over time and have become these tiny little microscopic plastics that have appeared everywhere. The UN Environment Program wrote an article on July 1st, 2025, stating that every year 19 to 23 million tons of plastic waste leaks into aquatic ecosystems, polluting lakes, rivers, and seas. The WWF Australia wrote a website on June 21st, 2025, stating that plastics can take 20 to 500 years to break down. I argue that we need to stop relying on plastic, and the way that I'm going to argue that is we're going to talk about the effect of microplastics on creatures, why plastic even exists in the first place, and our other options. So, according to a website, Stanford Medicine, written in January 29th, 2025, particles have been found in multiple human organs and tissues in the brain, testicles, heart, stomach, lymph nodes, placenta, urine, breast milk, and semen. Microplastics have shown to make fish and birds more vulnerable to infections. Animal and cellular studies have shown microplastics can cause inflammation, an impaired immune system, deteriorated tissues, altered metabolic function, abnormal organ development, cell damage, and more. Plastic makes its way into absolutely everything, and unfortunately, as of right now, as of this moment, there is no official solution yet to take all of that accumulation of microplastics out of our bodies, completely at least. Plastic is a useful product. It's extremely versatile and can take really any form. I mean, you can find it in super lightweight packaging materials. You can find it being used to create buildings, to prevent water from leaking into things. It can be used as a sealer. It can be used like a glue. It can be used in millions of different ways. The website RJG Mold Smart wrote on April 15th, 2020, that plastic is sterile, which is good for medical equipment, things that need to be sterilized or need to be sterile in order to prevent infections. Plastic is extremely cheap to produce and can be produced in mass very quickly. It is long lasting, which is beneficial to whoever is installing it in whatever situation, because not only do they not have to reinstall it, but they don't have to pay to buy a new one. It's just a much cheaper process, which makes it double cheaper. And interestingly, a large use of plastic is that since it's flammable, people do use it for heating things up and cooking in a lot of developing countries. The European Environmental Agency, the EEA, wrote on a website in November 27th, 2024, that only about 19% of the plastics ever produced have ever been recycled, and 12% have been incinerated. So, although the solution seems simple, well, why don't we just recycle? It just doesn't work out that way. Things end up in the trash, things end up flying into the water. It's very difficult to keep a hold of this massive amount of plastic material. Since plastic is so diverse in its different functions, it's difficult to find a single solution that works to replace it. So, Westrock Blog wrote an online blog on February 8th, 2024, stating that there are some alternatives, but there are also some challenges with every single alternative. Some of these alternatives include bioplastics, bamboo, metals, glass, paper or cardboard, biodegradable drink package holders. Now, all of these have their benefits and some have issues. For example, bamboo is very quick to grow. It can be created. It can be created and sold very quickly and cheaply for the most part. However, some of the issues are that since bamboo is a type of an purely organic material, it needs to be treated or else it will fall apart whenever it's being used. And a lot of times the treatment will be putting plastic into it to make it water sealing, and that is kind of going against the whole idea of it. So there are some issues with everything. Metals are a good solution, however, they corrode. Glass is a good solution, but it's delicate. So there are several good and bad things. So, how can we get rid of the current microplastic situation? Well, it's a very complex and difficult situation, but there is a fungus that is it's being talked about lately, and it's known to consume plastic waste. So, the Sea Rudders program wrote in February 27th, 2024, that the microfungi thrive on some plastics with no other carbon source, so no other food, to feed on, which demonstrated that some of them are capable of degrading synthetic polymers, which is the key. That means that they are able to consume plastic and they don't need to feed on other things to survive. Possible solution. So we have talked about the effect of the microplastics on creatures, why plastic exists, and what our other options may be. I hope I've persuaded you that we really do need to stop using plastic in our structures, in every way, if we can. And I think that if we can figure this microplastic thing out, then we can finally go back to having pristine bodies again.